And gentlemen, two gentlemen today for a change, yes, on our call. So welcome to the Genius Accelerator program. This is the first session. We did one this morning. So you guys are in group 21. So a lucky number for many of us, right? And ultimately today, what's going to happen is I'm going to babble for a bit, give you an introduction, go through a couple of things. I'd like to, before I start babbling, introduce our amazing mentor and our team, and then we'll get going on the actual mentoring and the program and what you're required to do, what you're not, and how the process is going to go for the next 12 weeks. But all of you should have had an implementation call or some kind of an onboarding call with Rosaline, right? If you haven't, she will get hold of you still, right? Those of you that haven't, please do get hold of her, because there's a set of slides, there's things that we need to do, which we're sharing today anyway. But yes, we're going to go through all of that today, and then we're going to get through some mentoring, because I believe some of you have completed some of your plans already, but Rosaline will be letting us know. All right, so welcome. My name is Michelle. Those of you that don't know me, I think all of you do, so I don't think that's a moot point. But for our Genius Accelerator program for the next 12 weeks, we have an amazing set of mentors that is going to help and guide you through this process. One of the first mentors that's going to be here is actually our amazing Michelle Clark, and she's on the call today, and she's just waved. So she's been doing this for a really long time. This is one of our favorite programs together. So like where my introduction to her became reality, and that's where I started working together with the team. Michelle's been running promo plans for the longest of time, and using this process and following through with this on a sales plan for in all the companies that we've worked with resorts, the Institute, Genius, Genius U, all of those kind of things. So the process works, the plan works, you just have to show up and you have to follow through. And this is the most important part here. So Michelle, do you want to say a quick hi before I get into the other part?
Hi.
There you go. So she does have a voice, and she is here, and I'm really super excited to have her guiding you through this process, because you guys have got a lot of good time with her, and this is the first gap that we're doing where we're alternating mentors in different sessions for the speciality, so that you guys actually get what you need from this course. Okay, so let's start with a basic introduction, and let me share my screen. Right. So let me do that. You guys can share my screen, see my screen, I'm guessing. Yes. All right, Rosaline's still going to let people in while we carry on. But this is really the basic idea and what's happening in the next 12 weeks, right? So for us, it was really very important on the Genius U and Entrepreneurs Institute side is really the the education revolution and what we're launching through this period. And one of our big things is to launch this global curriculum, to have profitable partners, and our clients also tying in with that, as well as having a really strong impact investment section this particular year. So I think some of you have seen these slides before, but it's really, what are we doing? We're working with our clients and partners. We're taking them through this journey. And this is why we've got such a big group for Genius Accelerator program. Before, this was really like a smaller group, but we actually decided that it's such a great program that we've invited so many more of you to join, which is really exciting. And this part is, we want to aim out to grow our students from like 4 million to 6 million, but this also helps you in growing your businesses along the way. So most of you guys are coming in as partners or Crystal Circle members, and it's really about sharing the revenues, sharing the processes, making sure that you guys are learning, that you're tied into this theme of this education revolution, because it's the next $10 trillion, thing. And if you aren't, why aren't you, right? So for us, it's really about the curriculum, it's about our partners, and it's about the investing. And you guys have followed through with Roger doing a lot of the stuff on the naked short selling, and us doing a lot of information on the partner conferences. And tomorrow we have the Lifelong Learning Summit. So we have a whole bunch of things that are coming in that are tied to this. When you take a look at what we're doing, we're definitely looking at making all the experiences that you guys use on our platform with your businesses while you're going through this program to make it very much high-tech, high-touch, so that it works together for you. So these are not slides that you haven't seen before, but just to bring it into some kind of a flow for you. So the big thing around the Genius Accelerator program is that we use the Genius formula to do this. right? And the thing about the Genius formula is it's a step-by-step system that actually links everything through the process. So we want to share that with you. And this is what this program is about, so that you guys are following a proven system and a proven model so that it actually makes things easier for you. So there's 3 big components in this. The stage 1 is your planning stage. This is really everything around what you're doing in the next 12 weeks. I know it says plan your school in 1 week, but you do the plan and the implementation over a 12-week cycle. This is where we're covering all the things that we're going to be going through. I'll show you shortly. But then the process from that, some of you guys are our level 2 and level 3 partners, is really moving forward and actually then building your school, right? And taking a month to do that, and then actually growing it, and then reviewing it and looking at it, and what do you need to change? So this is the model, and this is what we're going to go over in the first component, is the planning stage for the next 12 weeks. These are the things, right, that definitely come through here. We have 10 main steps. You'll be covering your problems, your promises, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit different to masters that a lot of you have come off, right? This is really taking not the whole business plan, but taking your 12-week promotion plan and working together with it. So it's really your step-by-step pathways, setting up your rhythms, making sure you've got the right team behind you, products set up on Genius U, making sure that you know what's going on, setting up your ad journey, dashboards, launching your customer plans, etc. So we go through all of this. And this is just a nutshell where you've got your 12 weeks of training. You have your mentor status, which allows you to put things onto our platform. There's the private circle. So I'll share the slides with you, but Rosaline will drop the circle link. This is where you have this accessibility to any of the historical stuff, plus the new stuff. So we have a pinned post every week, and that's where all your links and everything will be found. This is where you can communicate. This is where you find recordings, as well as on specific spreadsheets. But the circle is really there to support you. Everything's recorded, and you can access it at any time. And then this is the topics that we're going through for the next couple of weeks. So we're starting the promo plans for the first 2 weeks because we've got big groups, right? So we're going through, like today's a bit of structural stuff, but we're also taking a look at, you know, your plan. Michelle's going to be specifically mentoring on some of the guys who've got plans today. Next week, similarly, we're going to choose who we were at because, specific questions. Then we're going to talk about your customer journey. So Raj is going to come in and give some excellent advice around that. Michelle's then coming back to see where you're at in finishing your landing pages and what your company profile, and we're going to go through a bit of sections like that. Then my blessing half comes in data and Genius Igniting. So you have me for those 2 weeks, but I'll be through the whole program. I'll be with you. So it's not something that you won't see me. Then we'll cover literally 5 weeks of mentoring. It's around, this is what's happening, this is what's not going on, this is what's there. And it's actually the Q&A and actual feedback report, you know, supporting your plan, your data, your numbers, all of those kind of things. And then finishing up with preparing for your next quarter and a little bit of a prize giving and graduation. So like I said, this is the strategy, right? Again, but what we're definitely doing is we're following this particular model. So this is really like your Genius pathway, right? So you can see we've got 8 points in our pathway. Some of you might have less depending on your pathway, but this is what we work through with you, right? Now here you can see, Michelle will probably go into a bit more detail around this a bit later, but the point is also about where do you come in, right? What is the cost of your students? How do you get them through this pathway, like while they're experiencing this promotion plan that you're building? So it's really your invitation, your entry. We have assessments, master classes. We then go to, for example, workshops, summits, tokens. We then have different products. You can see GEM and GYM. Some of you guys don't know what those are, but GEM is our entrepreneur mastermind, whereas GYM is the network for investors. And then we build them through different programs. So then they go either through a founders roundtable. I know we've got a lot of acronyms because you can't really fit everything into these small blocks. But anyway, we'll get through this with you guys, and we'll take your hand and we'll make you, feel comfortable as you're going through. But you have your Genius Igniter calls, and then you have your different levels of products. So you can see we've got our level 1 side, our level 2, and our level 3 products. You can see as it's mixed through here. Wealth Dynamics Masters, Investor Dynamics Masters, and then you've got the different Crystal Circle products in here. So this is really the plan, right, that we use, and it's our growth model, and we adapt this then to suit your particular business model. This is just an example you can see of ours, where we've got different, statistics based on our Genius Test Challenger Summits, and where you can actually see what brings in revenue per student. And this is after mountains of time of actually analyzing this and having a business that's running through COVID and beyond, right? Where we can actually give you real-time data to say, this is what happens if you put so many people through here, they spend so much, this is what the outcome is going to be. This is just a little bit of a bigger picture of that, Michelle. This was the one for you to be sharing. And this is just going through about the process. So building predictable revenue with your leads, what is the price points, adding free value through your community, targeting those kind of things. So we'll get through all of these. Don't panic. Once you've gone through all of that, we then start going into the build stage. And this is where some of you guys are on the level 2 side. You'll be working through a different program after that. And some of you that aren't, you might be upgrading, right? So this is where you go from there. And after that, you're growing it, right? Super duper. This is 12 weeks again. You're growing, you're making sure you're making money through it. You've got milestones and dashboards. So really, the objectives is to create your quarterly, monthly, daily sustainable growth rhythm, your discipline of consistent improvement, promotion plan that generates consistent revenue. You've got your avatar, what their problem is and what solution you're offering, your compelling offer, and your exceptional customer journey. Those are your 6 big things, obviously, on top of the money side of things. So that's just an overview. Let me stop sharing for a moment and see if there's any questions or anybody's lost. Everybody's kind of with me still? Yes? Just an overview of the next couple of weeks. So that's really the big picture. Michelle's going to go into some detail today. So very first things is if we go into where do you find your information? I'm just going to open my calendar. Sorry, bear with me. I seem to have now lost myself. Give me 1 second. So I just want to make sure that you guys all have where we are at. Here we go. I'm on the wrong day as well on my calendar. Can you believe it? But really, if you go into your calendar and you're not really sure where to find stuff, if you open the that one, the calendar invitation, you will find everything inside here. Rosaline, the only thing that's missing is the circle. So if we can just make sure that that's in there. Here you have your worksheets and here you have your promo plan template. So when we talk about our worksheets, I'm going to run through this in a cool moment here. So the worksheet starts with your schedule, your recordings, and your documents. So you see all the weeks, and you can go and get the recordings over here. It does put the circles and everything here so that you can always access it. The next thing is the weekly topics, which is there, which is going to be updated slightly. Here we have a members table. So the only person that's actually here, luckily we have a few, but there's some gaps. So guys, you should go in here because this is also about connecting and networking. Put your information in, like, your Facebook pages. You can see here, Libby is mixed over here with everyone else, with Simon's stuff. So Chris, maybe just only for you and Donna, do those things and we can check that. But then here, put in your details so people can go and find and connect with you, right? So you can see here's Maren, here's Sandy, and there's quite a big team here in this group. So please do go and put your details in because this does help everybody connect with everybody. Yeah? Okay. We have some resources. I'm not going to necessarily go there. This is a panic situation if you need something and you can't find it. There's a lot. So we'll clean it out, but you don't need everything there right now. This is really everybody's promo plans and your links. It looks kind of nice and colorful, Rosaline. That's kind of pretty. Am I on the right thing? I've never seen so many beautiful colors of a rainbow in one thing. So I'm guessing this is correct, where everybody's plans are separated over here on the promo plan side, which is great. So we can find it. What we have next is we have our ticket sales. So those of you that are running events for your promotion plan, drop a yes in and Rosaline will create a table for you on that side. So the kind of guys is your city leaders. So Andrash and Kawa, you guys would be selling tickets for particular events, particularly here. So we'd do something like that. Then you have data tracking, right? This is your data tracking. Oh my word, it looks super complicated. Don't panic. Whatever you do, don't panic. Those of you that have done this before, you can put your details in, but those of you that haven't, we will go through this and we'll go through exactly what it means to put in all of these details. And you would each have a link to your own particular one, as you can see over here. Yeah. And there's a beautiful little video over here also that shows you how to use it in case you get lost. Yeah. After that, you have 12 weeks of spaces. So what we have here is we have whether you've come or not, we've got your name, we've got your goal, your highlight, your challenges, your top question for this particular program, any submissions that you want to be having. Submissions is things you want to show us. So you've prepared your landing page, a slide deck that you want us just to see, input on that. You put your questions in over here. Yes. And then you've got key learnings and key actions that you take away and mark through. So that's really in a nutshell how you go through this program, and how you actually make sure that you have the right information. So, Michelle, did I leave anything out? I can't remember. I think I didn't. I'm not sure. Did I miss anything that you wanted me to still add in?
I hope not.
I hope not too. All right. So let me go over and just introduce Rosaline. Rosaline, do you want to say a couple of amazing words to the team as we get started today?
Right. Hi, everyone. So I'm Rosaline. I'm your community manager for the Genius Accelerator program. So I'm here to support you. So if you need anything, do get in touch, especially if you've got questions around the preparation and your slides and where to find things. So I can support you with all of that. So I've been with the company for 2.5 years and been working on GAP for some time now. I think this is maybe my 4th GAP, something like that. So wealth of knowledge about what needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Just reach out.
Yes, don't ever feel that you're alone. I think the girls have also set up a WhatsApp group for you guys, so you can definitely go from there, right? And any questions that you need to have. So where we will be sharing slides and things like that, I know Rosaline has been very nice to you guys going forward and dropped some things in the chat, but there's always going to be a pinned post within the circle. So if you haven't joined the circle just yet, it's the members only circle. And over here, there'll be a pinned post every week, and we'll be dropping the relevant information in. So you can see from this morning, we dropped the spreadsheets in from there and the slide deck. So we'll be dropping those things in here every week. And that is then where you go and find it. You also have a library where you can go through historically anything you want to see. You can see my face is a lot there, Michelle's a lot there, because we do a lot of things, and you can see our recordings and everything like that. And it does tell you which program it's part of so that you're comfortable in that space. Right. So now that we've got all the administration things done, welcome. And I hope everybody has now finally joined. Yes? Everybody here? Excited? So the rule is kind of that you put your camera on if your camera works, right? Because it would be good to see your faces, because we like to have some interaction in this group. And I'm going to bring on the amazing Michelle Clark, and she's going to start asking a couple of questions around your plans and stuff like that. So Rosaline, I'm sure you've shared with who's done plans and who does not done a plan. So Michelle, I'm going to hand over to you.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everybody. Welcome to GAP 21. This is our second GAP group that we're launching this quarter. So we have GAP 20 and 21 running at the same time. We have a lot of level 2, level 3 partners here, which is really cool. And then we've got some Crystal Circle members as well. And we've also got some people who are brand new. So what I'd love to start with is drop into the chat where you're dialing it in from. And if this is your first promotion plan, or if you have done a promotion plan before. So I want to know who we've got that is new to promotion plans and who we have got that is returning. So we've got Chris in Birmingham. Charlotte is in NC. Where's NC? First promotion plan. Oh, in Charlotte, NC, first promotion plan. Sorry, that wasn't Charlotte, it was Andres. I misread that. Lisa is in Florida for first time. Katrina is in Georgia, but I don't know if it's her first time or second time. Same with Sharon. Sharon is in Kansas City. Carver is in Stockholm, first promotion plan. Tandili is in South Africa, first promotion plan. Bayer is in Slovakia. This is my number XXX promotion plan. Did a lot of them and already still learning. Marin's in Oslo, first time. Theodosia's in Boulder, first promotion plan. Melanie, Florida, first promotion plan. Sandy, Florida, not my first one. Sharon been using promotion plans for over a year. That's okay. Anne in Norway, first time. Alison in Essex, already have one in progress. Sue was, I'm actually GAP 20, so catching up today. All right, okay. Third promotion plan. Violetta did promotion plan for my other business. First time for a partnership promotion plan. And Carmen, Mauritius, first plan for this business. Nina from Norway have tried a PM like last year. Wow, look at all the people we have here on this group. And quite a mix of experience as well. There's some other people here who haven't posted in the chat yet. So I'm assuming you're either a business partner with somebody or you haven't got access to the chat yet. I'm not sure either way. But feel free to to drop in and let us know so we can see who you are, where you're dialing in from, and your experience. All right, we've got Katrina here as well. First gap, have done promo plans, but need to improve. And Nina also in Norway. I've tried okay, all right, okay, quite a blend and quite a mixture. So what I would say about this program, because Michelle's told you a lot about kind of the admin and what we're going to be covering. What I would say, and those of you who've attended GAP will, I'm sure, back me up on this, because a few of you have done the GAP program before. I can see got some returners here. This is a very, very practical hands-on program. So if you're expecting to show up and just watch and enjoy a little bit of TV for an hour and a half, is not going to happen that way. At least if that is what you're going to do, don't be complaining at the end of 12 weeks if you don't make any money. This program is designed to show you how to generate at least $35,000 within this next 12 weeks. Some of you are going to have plans where you make a lot more than that, but the minimum you should be making is 35K. So anyone who's doing their very first promotion plan for the very first time, that should be your minimum. But some of you will be doing promotion plans of 200, 250, even upwards of 500K. But do know, because it's practical, because it's hands-on, I will be expecting you to make revenue during the 12 weeks. And if you don't make revenue in the 12 weeks, it's either because you haven't been following the promotion plan, you haven't been turning up to the calls, or you haven't been taking the action, or you just decided not to for some crazy reason. And believe you me, I have had some people go through GAP and not make any revenue because they just chose not to do anything. That's okay too, but it's not the purpose of this program. The purpose of this program is that we're actually going to show you to make sure you have a plan that's in place, that makes sense, that you have something that is compelling, that is going to solve a problem in the marketplace. We're going to show you how do you get your marketing set up. We're going to show you how do you get your customer journey set up. We're going to show you what your landing page should look like. We're going to give you feedback on your copy. We're going to give you feedback on your compelling offer, all of those things to make sure that you actually are launching and making money in this quarter. Drop me a yes or a no if that sounds like a good idea. So yes, that's a good idea. We want to make some money in the quarter. No, I'm going to not bother doing that. I'm going to sit out. All right. Okay. So we got some people definitely wanting to make some money this quarter. Okay. I love that. So do know that it is interactive. It is participative, and we do expect you to do homework. So it's not about showing up just to this call. The first couple of weeks, we're going to be spending a fair bit of time doing the talking, because we're going to be getting you into it, understanding what you should be doing, making sure everyone's got a clear plan, making sure everyone understands their value cycle, how to do their data. So there will be a fair bit of talking the first few weeks, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be already launching. You should already be launching. And some of you should already be making some revenues in those first few weeks as well. After that, we'll settle much more into the mentoring, where it'll be much more where you turn up and you tell us what's working and what's not working. Now, to my GAP alumni, you can back me up on this. But what happens is around about week 4 or 5 is when it gets a bit unpleasant and a little bit uncomfortable for people. So week 1 and 2 is all very exciting. We're doing our promotion plans. We're getting giddy because we're finding out who our avatar is. We're finding out about their problem. We're getting excited about our compelling offers, and we're doing our slide deck. And then we got to like pull our marketing together. And then by week 4, we're actually expecting you to go out and make some sales calls. And that's kind of when people have a little bit of a dip. Sometimes where it doesn't quite work out, they don't get the leads, or they don't get the calls, or they don't make the sales, and they're like, no, it's not working. I can't show up to the call. I feel like an idiot. That is the most important time to show up. When it is not working is the most important time to show up to GAP. Showing up every week and it's all going brilliant is all well and good, and we'll love to hear your success stories because we all want to learn from you. But the weeks when you have a real challenge, the weeks when it's not going well, that's the week you actually need to show up, because that's the week when we're going to make sure you have a breakthrough and understand what is it that's not working. And I can guarantee you, because I run promotion plans every quarter myself, that is the week that none of us want to show up to our team meeting and tell our colleagues that we had terrible sales, or that our landing pages sucked, or that nobody wanted to come on our programs. None of us want to be on that call, but we suck it up. We get on that call together, and that's when we have the most value, because that's when we go through what we call a GAP learning cycle. And those learning cycles are when we have the opportunity to get together. So I get with Michelle, with Suraj, with Saranjit, with Anna and the team. We walk through our promotion plans and we support each other as to what is missing. Because sometimes when you're in the thick of it, you can't see. You're like, my product's brilliant. Everyone should love it. Why are they not just pouring through the doors? And there's always a reason why they're not. And it's very hard when we're so attached to our beautiful products to see why they're not flocking through the doors, or why they're not jumping out of their cars and off the trees to come and purchase a program with you. But when you get the input of everybody else and you get someone to look at your copy and go, well, actually, there's a gap in your copy here. It's not really screaming to get people to help solve their problem, or actually you're not solving a big enough problem, or hey, it's a really big problem that you're solving, but this is the wrong solution, or there's somebody out there doing it better than you already who's doing it cheaper. Like, why you're even trying to compete with this person? Why don't you go partner with them? Or why don't you like find a different solution to the problem? So there's always a way around it, but showing up on those really, really difficult weeks is the most important. So all my Gap alumni, if you agree with me, drop a yes into the chat. If you agree that you should be showing up when it is the most challenging week, drop me a little yes in the chat so I can see. And Michelle, I'm going to come over to you because you're in the team, you're doing promotion plans as well. So we're not just coming in and sharing theory, we're sharing everything that we're learning. Like, so we're coming in and telling you what works from our side, what doesn't work, what marketing works, what languaging works, what conversations work. So Michelle, you've been through that experience. We go through it regularly where things don't work, right? And I want everyone to know it's a very real situation, that just by putting your slides together does not mean you're going to go generate $35,000 immediately. It takes work and it takes you working it. So do you want to share a little bit about your experience of when things go wrong and the importance of staying connected when that happens?
Absolutely. So sorry if you and Rosaline have heard of the same thing, right? But it's definitely, you know, my biggest learning is being perfect is not fun, right? Because then why are we here? We're not learning and we're not growing. Yes. And I think over the years that I've been doing promotion plans, I remember my very first promotion plan that I did in my own business with Michelle. And it was the most awkward growing experience because things weren't working. But one of the things is that she said to me, show up every week because you'll learn something. I promise you, you just have to show up. You have to do the stuff. You have to do the work. By the end of the first promotion that I'd done, I'd managed to get a whole new client in the UK. I went and did a presentation. Remember that, Michelle? And I flew there and I was checking with you about the invoices and that kind of stuff. So in my own business, I then managed to duplicate that process. And that's why Michelle asked me to join. But I mean, over the years, and we're currently in that situation at the moment, we've run specific promotions and had, oh yes, this is this great big idea that we want to be doing. We want to run a promo with these products. And sometimes it doesn't work, guys. Sometimes the promo doesn't work, right? There's many reasons why they don't work, but the point is about transparency and openness and honesty. And it was at not in 23, 22, 21. So we launched at the beginning of 2021, we launched all the share options where a lot of you guys got involved at that time. But in the December before that, we had the whole promo and we'd worked it out. And both Michelle and I were on top of our promos before we went up for Christmas. We had everything planned and mapped out. It was amazing. It was all good, right? Yes, this is what we're doing. We got back in January and we started this promo. And about the 15th of January, Michelle said to me, what's going on? I'm like, no, man, this is not working. This is not working at all. This is not working. And she's like, okay, what are we going to do? So we pivoted and we came up with a new suggestion and we redid everything. We got the team aligned and we started again, right? So we still had time within the 12-week cycle and we started. And by the 12th of February, again, same thing. What is going on? It's not working. What have I done? What have I done? And it's great because you have the input from the team all the time and you have those conversations about what's working, what's not. And it was really rough because now I came up with the second thing, right? And it wasn't working. And then it was like, oh my word, what are we going to do? So we had a call with Roger and he put some stuff on the table for us and we just tweaked. It was a tweaking exercise. And of course, he helped us with our compelling offer where we came up with the share options and stuff like that. And then we only launched that promotion plan at the beginning of the March, right? We were so behind on our quarterly revenue, like so behind, it wasn't even funny. That revenue from that promotion drove over $1 million over the next a year basically, and it made up all of our targets and we did it. So when you actually find the thing that does the magic, it happens. But guys, in between it cannot work. So you got to be okay with it not working, put your big girl panties on and actually move forward and make it work, right? That's why you're part of this community. So show up. It's not working. What can we do differently? Because sometimes one thing works for one business plan, something doesn't work for a different business plan. So this is the beautiful part about these calls and these communities, because you learn so much. And this is why we do it in groups like this, so that you can learn from us. And we're doing it every day. So similar at the moment. We're chopping and changing and we're adjusting things. So it does happen. And like I say, it's kind of fun not to be perfect, because otherwise I wouldn't be learning anything and I wouldn't be able to teach you anything, right? So, yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. So just so you know that this is how it works, and that's real life. So tell me, on the week when it's all going horribly wrong and you're feeling super embarrassed and you haven't hit your sales target or you haven't got your sales page looking good, what are you going to do? Are you going to show up or are you going to miss the call? Drop into the chat and let me know if you're going to show up or miss the call on those weeks, just so I can be prepared for who's going to be here and who's not. And we won't call you if you don't show up. We won't chase you. We'll just know that you were embarrassed, because it usually happens about week 4 or 5. Okay, good. Well, this is good. So we're getting some commitments to show up. And it's okay if you're embarrassed, you can leave your camera off in those weeks, because we do know that that happens as well, where people don't even want to tell us and they're like, I can tell you as long as my camera's off. So we will accept cameras being off if you're in a situation where you feel embarrassed, but guaranteed all of you at some point are gonna have one of those weeks where you're not going to want to show up. Some of you might have more than one week, but I know from previous graduates that just pushing through, working through is the way to make this work. So there's a couple of principles with GAP. The first is that this is a program where you earn while you learn. So the first principle is you will be making money. And I'm going to show you your first piece of homework today. For those of you that haven't still finished your promotion plans, you'll be doing that 100%, because I haven't seen many promotion plans completed yet, and they were supposed to be done yesterday. So definitely everyone's homework is to complete your promotion plan. But your second piece of homework is you're going to fill in your sales targets. So when Michelle shared on the little document here, this pretty complicated sheet called the data tracking. Now, whilst you don't need to know everything about the data tracking at the moment, what you do need to know is that we want you to put your revenue targets in. Each of you have got your name, so you can see you've all got, whoops, I nearly deleted Alison's there. So you've all got your name, so you can find your own little sheet there. The team have worked out the percentages. Don't worry about the followers, community prospects, calls to clients at this stage, unless you know how to do that. So if you've done GAP before, or you've done one of my micro schools where we've gone through this, you're welcome to put all your numbers in. If you haven't, don't, because we'll go through this with you with Michelle, I think on week 3 or week 4. But I want you to put your target revenue in. So I want everybody to put target revenue in, which is in column M. So there's nothing stopping you doing that. And you'll put your actual revenues in as well. So before we get to this call, you'll put your actual revenue for the previous week, and we'll be able to see how whether people are on target, off target, and how they're doing, and we can get some instant feedback on everyone. But we will get the rest of this document filled in as we go. But because it's an earn while you learn, we want to be tracking how much you're earning. And what will happen is you'll see certain people start earning pretty quickly, and you'll be like, oh, what's that person doing? And you can really tune in to what's happening in their promotion. What have they been focusing at? What areas have they been focusing at? And some of you will be like, oh, geez, I'm still trying to decide if I have the right product for my avatar. I better hurry up and make a decision, because otherwise I'm going to get left behind. So really, I would say first 2 weeks is agreeing your promotion plan slides. That's it. After first 2 weeks, we really want to move on. Some people will take a little bit longer than that just because they don't like making decisions, but do know that we're only going to give 2 weeks for that. So by the end of next week, we want everyone to have a promotion plan. We don't want to get to week 5 or 6 and you're still asking questions about your avatar or about your compelling offer. There's only one time in the whole history of GAP that somebody has completely pivoted their plan. I know Michelle said that she's had to do that in the history, and sometimes that does happen, but there's only one time in the history of GAP where a student has had to pivot their entire plan. And that's okay. So if we do get to within 6 weeks and it's 100% not working and there's no way of turning it around, it is possible to pivot and change your plan. But the idea is that you have the right plan in the first instance and you work it, because we do not use pivoting plans as an option in Genius U. We don't get to week 6 and go, oh, it's not working, we'll just do something completely different. We don't. We're like, we're going to make this work. So we pivot how we're doing it. We pivot what we're saying. We pivot the way that we're packaging it. We don't pivot the actual entire plan and try something different, because it upsets the entire team, it upsets the rhythm, and it upsets the clients, frankly, as well, when we do that. So get your plan, get comfortable with it. We're going to stick with it. You're going to earn while you learn. The other principles that are really important is that everything works and nothing works. So everything works if you work it. Nothing works if you don't work it. And this is the key thing about the plan. You can have a really, really fancy slide deck, but if you're not working it, it's not going to work. So don't be surprised if you haven't put your landing page together, if you haven't put your compelling offer together, if you haven't thought through what your customer journey is, if you haven't launched the things you said you were going to do. Don't be surprised if it's not working. So everything works and nothing works. But as you come each week and share and go, Michelle, it's not working, we'll be able to help you and unpack why it's not working and what you could be doing differently. Is everyone okay with that? I know it sounds like it's pretty full on and it's like a pretty scary boot camp. That is GAP, unfortunately. GAP is a little bit of a scary boot camp, but you will be making money. I can tell you, if you do this and you commit to this process, you will be making money. So is everyone okay with that? Drop me a yes or no in the chat if we're okay with our agreement to do that work and make sure that, okay, all right, good. Oh, yeah, we probably don't tell everyone this amount of detail when we book them into GAP because they might not book on, but we like to tell you on week one once you're here. All right, not everyone's replied, so there might be some no's there. Okay, well, we will be tracking to see who's not committing to the program. No, we're not. That's a joke. Okay, good. Most people are getting into the spirit of it. All right, awesome. So let's kick off. So what I'm going to do is, I know some of you have put some plans in today. But yesterday was the deadline for submitting the plans to give me time to have a look and review some of them. So there's a couple in here, but not everybody still has completed them. And I am going to say that you must make sure that by next week you have a plan in place. So for those of you that don't have one, there's always an excuse as to why you haven't got it. And that's not what I'm interested in right now. What I want to know is that you are going to put a plan together. Because if you don't have a plan, you're definitely going to get left behind. And what you're going to see today is I'm going to do some mentoring. We're going to get a chance to go through at least one plan, hopefully two. We'll have a look at what questions you guys have. We'll have a look at what insights pop up as you hear me mentoring people who've already put plans together. But it's very difficult for any of us to mentor you on blank sheets of paper. And so we don't do that purposely because it's very confusing for you. It's very confusing for us. But where we can see you've actually given it some thought already, we can see where your head's at, what you're already thinking, and it makes it a lot easier for us to support you growing your plan. So everyone okay putting their plans in by next week who haven't done it yet? Everyone's okay with that? All right. And if you have any questions on the process, you can check in with one of us on the process. So the first person I'm going to come to, I wrote down, is Chris and Donna. So let me click on this slide deck here. Hey guys, who wants to unmute themselves?
Hi, Michelle.
Hello, who's going to be the spokesperson?
Well, I go on holiday next week, so Donna's going to step in. So maybe Donna could speak this week.
I love how you completely sidestep that one. So Donna, are you ready to take over?
I don't know.
I'll talk this week, Michelle.
We'll soon find out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the reason I say who is because wherever we have business partners or couples together, it ends up being very loud if everyone's talking and it takes up too much time. So we'll just have one. But obviously, you're both here on the recording. You can both be like helping to prep and catching up. But we'll just have one spokesperson for this week then. All right. So I'm going to get you to walk through this plan, and then I'm going to give some feedback, ask some questions, and see if we can kind of lift the whole level of it as well, so that you're ready to get launching. So do you want to walk us through what your thinking is here? I know you got a couple of extra slides in as well, which has made it a little bit more complicated for us, but let's see if we can kind of follow it. So yes, kick off with your summary.
Okay, let me just get our slide deck up. Can I use your computer?
Yeah, use mine.
So
Can you see it?
We're trying to rescue the wealth dynamics for real estate for investors. So the reason there's some extra slides in there, I'm taking from what I learned with you guys the other week, and try and make the best of both of it, what I've learned and what we've already got. So that's why.
So for everyone who's watching as well, Chris has been on Wealth Dynamics Masters. A few of you have done that as well. I will just make the point that the slide deck is different from Wealth Dynamics Masters to promotion plans. So and this is for everyone. So Wealth Dynamics Masters, you put an entire team charter together for the whole company for the whole year. The promotion is one product or service launch for the quarter. And it's just a promotion plan. Hence, we don't need all the team charter slides at the same time. But that's why we give you that template at the beginning and say, just use that template. But we'll go through it anyway, and we'll see if we can make sense of where you're at and what your thinking is. All right. So explain the summary of the plan.
So we'll be launching Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors. It's a new product, part of the suite of products and services offered by Mastermind Principles, which is part of Genius Group. So we've still got to work on that front slide. I think it's a little bit too wordy.
All right, no, that makes sense. So this slide deck is for you and your team, and for us. And so it makes a lot of sense to me. You're going to be launching Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors. And then what if you are going to go out to your clients, you can either create a new slide deck or do an actual landing page, right? But this is obviously the working document for us. So this looks like your customer promise from the team charter, or is this
No, this is from the team charter. The one we've got at the moment we couldn't really use, so put this on here because Donna's new to this, so we're going to kind of come up with a middle ground of, you know, getting it right from what our values are and our problems are with our existing client base to what we need for this product.
So do you want to use this for this promotion, or is this not relevant now?
No, it's not relevant. It's just for reference. So we use it as a working document at the
We're going to
moment.
merge the
All right,
slide.
well, you can go ahead and delete slides that are not relevant so
Yeah.
that we don't have them as additional slides. All right, so is this the avatar for this promotion?
This is the avatar.
All right, so
So-
walk us through this avatar.
Okay, so potential clients are aware that one of the pathways in building their wealth for the longer term is to invest in property. However, they're not certain how to get started for a number of reasons. And do you want me to read all the slide, Michelle? Because it's still a bit wordy.
No, you don't need to read it all. You can just give us a sense of who the avatar is.
Okay, so basically, the avatar we're going to is like people new to property investing. So when they actually come into the pathway, so we offer them something free, which we already do, and then this is the next level. So this is going to be around $9, but we've still got to work on all our numbers. So it's that upsell to keep them in the funnel. So
let's just stick with the avatar at the moment before we
Yeah.
get into the product. And this is really important. So everyone, when you hear me doing the mentoring, I want you to really think through the questions that I'm asking the person and think about it, because all of you are going to get a chance to go in and either start doing your slides while you're here on the call with me now, just start filling them in, or upgrading the ones that you've already got as you're hearing the feedback that I'm going to go through with Chris and Donna as well. So let's stay with the avatar for now. And let's get into the avatar's problem then, because there's a lot of slides here. I'm not sure again. So you've got this avatar here, but then you seem to have these other three. So who's the actual avatar and what's their problem?
Okay, so the first avatar was the existing promo plan we put together, and the third avatar, yes, the
Or this
problem.
one, the newbie Neil, you mean?
Newbie Neil is us as a business, so we want to look at both slides and make sure that we're putting this to the right avatar. So our slides are still being worked upon at the moment, and this is why they're in there. So me and Donna will be
So I'm going to ask you just to make a decision now. Who's your avatar for this promotion?
Okay, we're going to go with definition of the problem. So up to, yeah.
So this person, so it's not any of these three people here. It's just this person has this problem.
Yeah.
So they want to get started. They're confused about how to get started. They might not have enough money. They've seen a few strategies. They're risk adverse. They'd like to joint venture. Okay. All right. So all we need to do is we can still have a name for this avatar. And then explain where this avatar hangs out and then put their problem in. So, okay, let's go to the promise then. Which is the right promise slide? Because there's 2 slides on here, 3 slides on the promise here. So which is the one you want me to go to?
Okay. So it'd be a customer promise. If you
Slide
go,
31, this one?
yes. So we want to raising people's financial awareness, to educate them in different ways of creating wealth, other than traditional routes. So part of the test will be, what courses do they need to be going to create that wealth?
Mm.
You go read off the idea will be with the slide because that's the product,
Yeah.
isn't it?
What do you think, Michelle? Do you think it's not enough info on that?
I'm gonna hear your plan, then I'm gonna give you my feedback. So I'm just trying to make sense of what the plan is at the moment. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the promise. So what's the product? Which slide is the product slide?
Okay, so our product, so
34 or 36?
slide 34.
Okay. Yeah.
So a supplementary report for each of the 8 profiles covering the strategies applicable to the UK market. That's our product. The Kickstart bit, we're going to readjust that because I don't think the Kickstart's right, because at the minute it's on the landing page and I don't think it's right on the landing page.
Okay. All right. And then we've got some extra slides in here. So you can just go in and tidy this up, right? And
Yeah.
remove the extraneous ones.
We've still got to put a lot of work into there. We just want to get all the
That's okay.
information in
Yeah,
to
yeah.
then pull the
We'll
best.
come back to value cycle and pathway. So I'm going to, okay, let's go to the compelling offer. So let's have a look at the compelling offer then. So what's your compelling offer here?
Okay, so our compelling offer, Wealth Dynamics for Real Estate, is the perfect tool to kickstart or gain clarity for your journey in acquiring and profiting from real estate investments. The Wealth Dynamics assessment has been taken with over 500,000 people worldwide and #1 profiling tool for entrepreneurs and investors.
Okay, all right, got it. And then we got our team, we got like all the people on this plan, we got where everyone's hanging out. So financial objectives. So just explain how this is broken down.
So revenue, 9 times 500, 4,500 plus.
What does 9 times 500, what is that? Is that a profile test or what is that?
No, we're still working out that. So we need to go back and break all this down.
Okay.
We was just questioning how many followers do we need to achieve these figures?
Okay. All right. So this isn't clear either yet. All right. And then development objectives. We want to update the reports, train some consultants. Okay. Got it. All right. Okay. All right. So here's the first thing I'm going to do, because we've got some people on this call who've launched reports already, right?
Yeah.
So we've got, I think we've got the GFU team, and have we also got the Shine team here as well? Who's here from Shine?
Veronica should be here. But I think she's not joining today. She's only coming on next week.
Right. Okay, but we got Bayer here. So, so Bayer, first of all, because I'm going to, and it'd be interesting to take your feedback on the overall plan here, given that you've just launched the Wealth Dynamics for Evolutionary Women. Should the plan be to sell the profile test, or should the plan be to sell like high-level coaching programs?
All the tests.
Michelle, you're asking me?
Yes.
Okay, I would say it depends what the intention is, but so my intention is to sell high-level program and then create a pathway that you package the profiles and then you create followers and community. So it's not like you will not be selling tokens, of course, but that's not the end, right?
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
really having the end in mind. What is the top one? So when we launch our Evolution Leadership program, which we know is world-class, then we create a whole pathway, right, to create followers, community, and then we package it to tokens and create a masterclass. Whatever pathway we have is really effective. But that's what I got from coaching, you coaching us. Yeah,
exactly.
And always, this is where we were most successful. And I know I sometimes defied you because this is my, I did 3 gap programs and then Michelle forbade me to do more. So I wasn't allowed. But now I come as a level 3 partner, so we can be here.
But now I can use you as a mentor as well. So I'll let you on this program. All right. Thanks, Bayer. So Chris and Donna, just coming back to you guys, like for sure, I know it's your first promotion. And I said for your first promotion, you can do 35K, but that's for somebody who's a level 1, level 2 business just starting out, right? You guys are more like a level 4, level 5 business. So you definitely can't get away with a 35 or a 30K promotion plan. And I'm pretty sure Simon won't be happy if he thinks that that's all we're going to make after spending 12 weeks together. So let's begin with the end in mind here, right? Before we even go into what the product is, for you to run a promotion plan and to give your time, what revenue do you want to generate?
We still need to work out that, Michelle, to be honest. So
I'll ask Donna then. Donna, because you're going to make a decision on the call. What's the revenue you want to generate in this quarter?
Well, I think because we're promoting because it's a new product, the Wealth Dynamics test.
So forget the product, because it's actually the wrong plan, right? The plan is definitely not to sell the profile tests. So my question is, with a promotion plan, just a promotion plan this quarter, what would you like to generate revenue wise?
So MMA is where we want to catapult them to.
MMA, all right. So what revenue would you like to generate?
Well, MMA is 2,995. So
don't work out the numbers. Don't do it backwards. So this is important for everybody, right? And this, I asked this question and people are like, I don't even know. This is like you getting into a taxi and the taxi driver says, where do you want to go? And you're like, I'm not sure. I haven't figured it out yet. And he goes, well, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Blackpool? Do you want to go to Birmingham? Do you want to go to London? And you're like, I'm not sure. It could be any of those. I haven't really thought it through. And he's like, well, I can start driving because I know how to get to all the destinations. And so at some point, you've got to decide where you want to go. So the taxi driver can take you the shortest, fastest route. Now, if you get in the car and say, well, it depends, if you've got enough petrol, or like, does your indicator work? Then it's like, no, just tell me where you want to go, and let me take care of the car bit. Where do you want to go? So, and everybody drop into the chat just based on this, like, what is the revenue you want to generate from this promotion plan this quarter, right? So just go drop into the chat so I can see everyone is starting to think about it already. What's the revenue you want to generate? Just drop it in, regardless of what your product is, regardless of what your plan is. All right, so Sharon's going for 35, Carver's going for 168. So you can see everyone's already got a number in mind. And by the way, tell me honestly, do you all know how to achieve that number? So put yes if you 100% know how to achieve it, put no if you don't, and that's kind of why you come to Gap. No, okay, yes, no, okay. All right, so we've got a bit of a variety there. So it's okay to pick a number and not know how to do it, right? And it's okay as well, because Chris is one of my Lord friends, so he's like squirming now because he's like, I need to know all the answers, and I don't know all the answers, and that's okay, right? That's fine. But just commit to a number between the two of you, even if you decide to change it between now and next week. Just commit to a number as to what you want to have as your revenue for this quarter for this promotion.
Okay, so if we could convert 16 people, that would be 48k in revenue on MMA.
48.
By just 16 people converting.
Okay, I'd still say that's kind of small for you guys.
I think if we do a stretch target, once we're more established with it, to 32 people, then we'll be closer to 100k.
So you're still working out your plan based on what you think is possible, which is the number of people you think you can book into MMA.
Yeah.
And so here's what happens, right? Now, I'm not going to push you guys to just keep pushing your number. You're going to decide a number at some point. But if you're trying to work it out based on what you currently know you can do, if you just do what you currently know how to do, then that's, you may as well just go do what you know how to currently do. But if we were to, because I want to launch Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors, right? So 100% is going to be a part of this promotion plan, but it's not going to be the full thing of the promotion plan. We're not just going to go sell the profile test. Now, just explain MMA as a product. What problem does that solve?
So MMA is a 3-day strategy course. We call it our gold dust because that's where we catapult into our top course of Mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
And we want bigger conversion out of MMA. So the more people we can get in there, the higher the conversion. So we normally convert around 10% of people. But that's
explain what it is, not the conversions. What is MMA and what is MM?
Do you want to explain MMA?
Yeah, so MMA is a 3-day residential course where they are immersed in property with Simon. So they eat, sleep and drink property for 3 days. So they're networking with people on the evening, and basically the 3 days, everyone is taught every single strategy that they need to know about property over the 3 days.
Okay.
And then
that's the program that's how much? 2,000?
2,997 plus VAT.
All right. So, but that's just them doing 3 days, right? That's not your ultimate program. Your ultimate program is that on the back of that, you want them to stay and do something, right? So what's the next program that they then buy when they've been to MMA?
So by them doing MMA, they've got the basic knowledge of all the strategies that they need for their property toolbox. So then the idea is then that they go on to the 1-year program, whereby they go into those strategies in much more detail, but they have accountability and support. So they have an action of what they need to do by the next month. And then that's the 12-month support. And then that's where at the end of the 12 months, if they follow what Simon has taught them, they will have £1 million worth of property and 50,000 income from that target. So the 3 days is
nice big promise. And what's the price point of that program?
25,000
plus 25k and plus VAT. Okay, 25k. So we've got the 2,997, we've got the 25k, and we know that 10% of the people who come to the 3-day program are going to buy the 1-year program. So do you want this promotion plan to help you sell some of the 25k program?
Yeah.
You do, right? So now you can start figuring out a different number, right? Because it's like if you, and here's the thing, like if you just make this promotion plan about selling the profile test, you'll only like get to a very, very small number. But if you say, actually, our ultimate goal, and this is for everyone, right? So I know this is a bit painful for my friends here just to go through, but let me just grab this other slide deck that I just want to share with you.
Michelle, I've got a question, if that's okay, because obviously we've got so many products. Simon's got like literally so many products and funnels.
Yeah.
He's got his webinars, he's got our 3-day strategy live property implementation. We've got all the PIM meetings. So we've got loads of different funnels that go into MMA. So how would we put all of that into a promotional plan?
Well, I'm going to get to that, but it might not even be MMA, right? But what I'm trying to do is get you to start thinking about like the bigger picture. And start thinking about, because ultimately and this is for everyone, right? Particularly those, if you're like a level 1, level 2 company just trying to get started, it's easier to have a small number of clients spending a large amount of money, much easier than it is to have a large amount of clients spending a small amount of money. And it's counterintuitive because you think, surely, Michelle, if I just price something at $97 or $100, it's gonna be much easier to sell than it is to sell something at 10,000. It's not, because it's not the amount that's the difficult part. It's getting that pool of customers that's the difficult part. And when we walk you through the value cycle and explain the numbers, you'll see how many followers, community, and prospects you need to have to actually close those sales. So it's definitely always easier to get the large group. Now, the dichotomy is you need to have a large group at the front end spending a small amount of money in order to get a small amount at the back end spending a lot of money. So Michelle just touched on this, but I'm going to spend a bit of time explaining this because I think it's a really, really useful slide for everyone to see. And you can start thinking about it. And especially for you guys, right? Because every time you put a promotion plan together, you want to be thinking through this whole game, right? This whole game. Now, for those of you who are just starting out, this is going to be a little overly complicated for you. That's okay. You're going to think about which bits you're going to build in this plan, which bits you're going to build in Q3, which bits you're going to do in Q4. But for the purposes of this exercise, I'm going to explain it so everyone understands it. So Chris, excuse me if I've kind of explained this to you before, but just so everyone gets it as well, right? So this is the $1 million model, which we know if we spend $1 on the front end, bringing somebody into Genius U will make us $10. Now, the reason we know that is because we've been trying and testing it for a long time and tracking and measuring it. It doesn't mean that if I spend $1 today, that person will spend $10 with me tomorrow. In fact, it's typically a lag time of between 3 and 12 months. All right. But know that, so just know that whatever you're doing, you're going to need to put some kind of marketing budget in. Not all of you are going to be spending money on Facebook ads or Google ads this quarter, but you've got to be thinking about what you are going to spend on your marketing. So knowing that you spend $1 is going to result in $10, but it's not an instant return on investment. The way that it works, and this Genius formula, this is kind of like the bare explanation of a Genius formula for anyone who has an education or community business, right? Which is why we only invite educators and community builders to come into Gap. So the first thing is you're going to send an invite out. So you can do a warm email, you can do a nice add to your warm database, or you can do new ads if you don't have a warm database, and you can have partners. So typically those would be the 4 ways that you would invite somebody in. And then you're going to have an entry-level product. And this entry-level product is always going to be free. There's 3 things that I recommend at entry level, and we'll add this 3rd one in here as well, Michelle. So there's assessment, there's masterclass, and there's templates. Those are the 3 things that work really well at the entry level, right? Now, if you don't yet have your own assessment, you can use one of ours. You can just get an affiliate link and use one of ours, right? But I highly recommend that you're thinking through what is the assessment test that you do need to build this quarter, even if you're going to use it for next quarter's promotion. Because some of you are just going to hit your targets this quarter by following what I tell you to do. And you're like, I'm just going to go out and speak to some people and get some clients. I'm going to be very happy. But you will run out of people to speak to unless you're building this group of people on the front end. So if you look here, if we spend $100,000 on a month, we'll get 300,000 people that we're doing some kind of invite to, right? From that, we'll get at least 100,000 people doing something, whether it's an assessment test or a masterclass. Assessment tests for us are very, very successful. Highly recommend you have an assessment test, by the way, Chris. And you know, you've already got the Genius test for investors that you can use, right? We're actually helping you guys to turn that into the property investors Genius test. So we're actually like helping you create that right now. So it's free. It's very easy for people to come in. Now, your level 1 product is anything between $1 and $97. So this is where your profile test comes in. So if somebody does a free assessment, you want to upsell them into a profile test, right? So you want to sell them into wealth dynamics for real estate investors, definitely. Now, you could do a special price for that. So you don't need to do it for $97. If you wanted to, you could do it for $27 or whatever price point you want to make it super attractive so people are going to come in, or you can invite them into a very, very low price event or a free masterclass. And you've always got lots of free masterclasses and workshops and summits going on, right? So, but at this point, somebody's now making their first purchase with you between $1 and $97. All right. So it's nice and easy. And basically all you're doing is making sure they've got a credit card and that they trust you enough to hand their credit card over. That's what you're looking for at this point. This is not going to make you your millions, and it's not going to send you all to Jamaica on holiday. But what it is going to do is it's going to let you see that people trust you enough that they're willing to part with their credit card. So it's really important, especially on that front end. You want to have this level 2 product, which is anything up to kind of $970. So this is where people go, do you know what? I really enjoyed that experience. I enjoyed that workshop. I enjoyed that summit, or I enjoyed that profile test. I'm now willing to give you up to $970 and join something that is ongoing. So we have this as a 12-month mastermind. You are all members of GEM. So you've all been in GEM for a long time, the Genius Entrepreneur Metaversity. We do the calls every month. Michelle's been like building the whole thing up. We've got some really cool speakers coming up. And we're going to be launching GIN, which is the Global Investors Network. So there's a mastermind there where people can come in and they can access and be part of a connected community. And what happens is they build so much trust with you because it's such an easy, low price point. They're building all this trust with you. Now, at that point, that's when you want them to become a prospect. So this is when you either get them into a sales call or a founders round table or an investors round table or something like that. And then you've got your level 3 product, which is anything between 2.5K and 8K. So we've got our GAP program, we've got Wealth Dynamics Masters, and then at level 4, it's like the sort of 12 to 25K or plus. We've got our Crystal Circle program, we've got our Investor Dynamics Masters, and then we have partnerships. So people only become a partner after they've been a customer, right? Now, the reason I spent time to go through that, because Chris, I know you and Donna have seen that, and we've shared this with you before, but it's to bring it back to the promotion plan to say, like now you may decide you want to focus on the MM program. You might say there's actually a different program we want to launch this quarter, or there's a different program that's more appropriate if we're going to go down the route of really driving people through Wealth Dynamics. Something I'd love to see, which I know both Joseph and Bayer did. So they had people going through their free assessment test, the Genius Test 4, so Genius Test for property investors, upgrading people into Wealth Dynamics for property investors. There's nothing to stop you saying to people, come along to the masterclass, which is Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors. Simon can easily do a masterclass on that because he's been teaching Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors for 5 years. And now, but we don't actually have that in yet into a masterclass, which would be an amazing program. Now, if you think about Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors, it is not solving this problem that you're talking about here, right? I mean, it kind of is, I guess, in the long term. But if you think about the actual problem, like if you think about Wealth Dynamics and the way that we talk about the way that Wealth Dynamics solves a problem. So if I just take Wealth Dynamics and entrepreneurs, and I would say the problem is entrepreneurs are out there trying to figure out how to grow their business, and they're being told there's multiple different ways and multiple strategies as how they can do that. Some are being told to go and create a business speaking from stage. Others are told that they should go and build a YouTube channel. Others are told that they should be doing affiliate marketing. Others are being told that they should focus on asset building. And it's like, there's so many different ways you can be building a business. But did you know the reason it's so confusing and so difficult for us to grow a business is there's actually 8 strategies. And so we created Wealth Dynamics. Wealth Dynamics allows you to find out which of the 8 profiles you actually are. When you understand which profile you are, you'll discover there's a unique route to how you'll actually be doing your business. This is the same with Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors, right? When you realize that you're one of 8 profiles, there's a strategy you should actually be following in order to build your property portfolio and build your property team. So this is like where I'll come back and say to you guys, like, what do you see now, just from what I've shared, would be a better pathway for people to go through if we started with that and said, we do want to drive Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors, because we've spent all this time pulling it together. What do you see by people understanding that there's 8 routes and there's 8 pathways and there's particular strategies they could follow, which makes more sense for them to follow as an actual pathway?
Do you mean through the products that we've got, the pathway of?
Yeah, I don't really want you guys to launch any new products because you've got a lot of products, right?
No, we've got too many as it is.
But if you're teaching people, so for example, Bayer didn't need to create any new products. Joseph didn't need to create any new products, but what they did was they wealth dynamiced everything. And this made them way, way more unique and different to anyone else in the marketplace. This makes you way, way more unique and different to any property trainer out there, right? Property investor trainer out there right now. I mean, you're already number 1 in the UK. You want to go global. Like, for me, it would make sense that this becomes a global promotion to like launch into the global marketplace using Wealth Dynamics, tapping into our database, finding people out there who are already property investors. I probably wouldn't go for the people who've never done it before. I'd go for the people who want to do property investing, already are, and are ready to come to something like MMA. or something else?
Yeah.
Donna, what are you thinking?
I'm totally confused, to be honest, because what's going through my head is like, because we've got the mastermind program, it launches twice a year. So there's one that launches in April and then there's one that's launching in October. So we're in March now. So, and then when we're looking at these products, you know, it says, you know, what is your product? Do we need to think of like, what our one product is? Like MMA is probably the one, because if we can get more people we get on MMA, the more people naturally will go through to the mastermind program. So then do we do our product as targeting to get people into MMA, but then we've got lots of other.
Yeah, because you know you've got that program already set up. You know that it's going to give you a 25k back end sale, but it's about getting more people into it now and getting people in who understand their profile and understand the strategy around it. See, what's happened is you've created Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors kind of in solitary confinement. What Bayer and Joseph have done is they've then created masterclasses for Wealth Dynamics 4 or Talent Dynamics 4, and they've explained that to people, and they said that's our unique offering. So, you know, Joseph said, well, anyone can teach project management 5.0, but we're teaching it based on your profile. No one in the marketplace is doing that. But it doesn't mean you have to create a whole new product suite. It just means you've now got something even more unique and different that's solving someone's problem. Because people are trying to learn property investing and they're being told all these different ways they can go do it. And they're like, well, what's the best way? What should I follow? When they realize there's 8 strategies they should be following, and that when you know which profile you are, there's one of 8 strategies you should follow. Once you know that and you understand, we'll get you in, show you how to go build your team. Then we'll get you into our MMA program where we actually go through in depth. But all you need to do then is inject some Wealth Dynamics typology into MMA. That's all you need to do to keep that whole thread going. And into the 1-year program as well, right? That's what we do. So anytime, like, it all starts with Wealth Dynamics or Talent Dynamics, but if you come on any of our programs, everything is about Wealth Dynamics. So Gem, like, is about how do you build your business based on your profile, based on your wealth spectrum level. Crystal Circle, the first thing we want to know when you join Crystal Circle is your profile test and your wealth spectrum level. We already know that because people have pretty much gone through it by the time they join, but it helps us to personalize. So the real benefit of productizing Wealth Dynamics for you guys, I think the challenge is you haven't seen yet what the benefit is of what you've done. You just see there's a profile test and it could be useful, but the real benefit is that you can highly personalize people's journeys now.
So just to put into context, literally, we've not always got to go for the MMA because that's our gold dust. Depending on their profile, we could offer them a home study.
You could do. I mean, yeah, you could do that. So you're not restricted to the upsell that they're going to have. But what we do want to do is get a certain revenue on the back of this.
Or something evergreen, depending on if, you know.
So my thoughts on evergreen, and I'm interested on Michelle's thoughts as well. My thoughts on evergreen is whenever you run a promotion, you should always run a promotion that intends to have an evergreen element, but you should never set up an evergreen promotion. So every promotion should be out there to generate, you know, 100 grand of revenue. And then on the back, it can become an evergreen, because the evergreen will always be a lot less revenue and have lower conversions than the live aspect. But there's nothing to stop you using it, right, as an evergreen, and it will continue revenues coming through. This idea of having a customer pathway, I guess you might say, well, that is evergreen, Michelle, because there's people just constantly coming through. But evergreen is really nobody needs to show up, nobody needs to do anything live. Whereas a customer pathway, they're having a high touch, high tech experience, and there's actually live elements that are happening. That's kind of the difference. I mean, Michelle, anything you just want to add on, like, evergreen versus live?
I think the catch with building something that's evergreen is the environment changes. If you take it true, what evergreen means, that it just ticks over and does stuff. And I think the environment changes so quickly in this current digital space that if you just leave something, it actually ruins it. So exactly as Michelle says, place something in place that's creating a regular pathway for your customers, but continuously upgrade and make sure that you're learning from it to make it better. Because if you leave it exactly the same as a true evergreen funnel is supposed to be, it loses its impact over time.
Okay. Lot to think about.
Yeah, so I'd have Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors. I'd have a masterclass on Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors. Then I'd have a way that once somebody has done that masterclass, they can book into a call. Or they can book into a conversation to talk about what the next steps are. And the next steps could be going into MMA, it could be going into some other product, but basically you're using that as a front-end entry point and you're launching it. So the promotion plan is going to generate revenue. Otherwise, you just have the profile test kind of sitting there, right? So it needs to have a promotion plan behind it so that you've got hundreds and thousands of people eventually going through the actual profile test, which is your unique offering. And I think once you see why that's unique and how it sets you apart from everyone else. Bea, do you want to just explain, like, because you went through this same process yourself, right? Where you were like, okay, you know, we've got a pretty cool product, we've got a pretty cool community.
Dropped off, Michelle.
What was that?
Bear's dropped off.
Bear's
He had
dropped
to
off. Okay.
go. Yeah.
But Bear and Jan went through the same process where they were like, this is our gold dust. This is what makes us supremely unique, because we've got something here where we can teach people there's 8 different pathways as to how they become an evolutionary woman. There's 8 different stages of being an evolutionary woman as well. And definitely, like, Joseph has seen something like a 200% increase in revenues as a result of doing it as well. Do you guys have any questions?
Not up to now.
No.
I think we've got a lot. Well, I think we've got a lot to ponder. We need to put it all into perspective.
All right. Okay.
Thank you for the coaching. That was really helpful.
All right. We'll go back and have a listen to the recording. And it's just about, I think, take out some of these slides, like go in and take out some of these slides and say, well, what do we want to have? But just know that the promotion plan is definitely one of the development objectives, I would say, is to launch Wealth Dynamics for real estate investors. So for me, that's one of the development objectives, is to launch it. But the actual promotion plan is not just to sell it. The promotion plan is to shift a stack of people through it so they come out the other side and do something else. So it becomes part of your journey towards something. Does that make sense? All right, got it. Okay. And does that make sense to everyone else? Because I know this is a fairly complex business, because it's a much bigger business, but all of you are going to be creating a journey like this at some point, right? Okay. Let's head over to, let me see, there was some other plans that got filled in as well. Let me just go get the right link up. Let's head over to Nina and Anne. All right, who's going to be your spokesperson?
I suppose I am. Or do you want to speak, Jen? Okay. Yep.
Right,
Me.
go for it. All right. Do you want to walk us through yours then? And by the way, feel free to change anything or upgrade anything just from the coaching that you heard. So don't feel like you have to see what you've got. You can go, no, I changed my mind. It's going to be this. So let's walk through what you're thinking.
Yeah, and I think I always get ideas from you, Michelle. So we'll see about that. So the thing is, I last year, like the company that I have currently is iSpirit, but last year I certified some more flow consultants. So what we're trying to do now is build something that is that we build together.
Okay.
And so we're thinking of calling it. So this is in Norwegian, the lighthouse, like the lighthouse programs.
Right. Got it.
So, and I think I've asked if we can only have one avatar or two, but so we've had department head Dina, which is she's heading a department, and people are exhausted, not engaged at work, or some of them are engaged as well, but they're just really overwhelmed, out of time and out of flow. They're in fast changed organizations. A lot of them feel alone in trying to solve issues and not using the collective genius. So our promise is that we empower both the leader and the team to understand each other better and to help them use their qualities and their energies in a better way to accelerate trust and flow, both internally but also externally towards other teams. And so our product then is what we call the Lighthouse programs for teams or team dynamics, and we've made that a 3-step process. And some proof. We started working. We started working on some clients that have been happy with the first steps. And yeah, do you want me to do anything more on this one? Yeah.
All right. So, but I see you've got a different customer. So you got Dina and you've got Heidi. Who are you going with?
Let's go with the. Well, see, this is the thing. That's one of the questions we have with the avatar, because also we are looking at some of the companies. We are both with the sort of more corporate departments, but then we also have some clients or prospects that are more small, medium-sized.
So here's the thing, right? because
Yep.
everyone tells me they've got multiple avatars, and unless you're a level 4 or 5 business, you haven't got multiple avatars, you've got one avatar. And the reason I say that is because you've got your one product that you're trying to sell, you've got your one avatar, and if you have one avatar that's really clear, then your marketing is going to be for that avatar. Everything that you create is going to be for that avatar. The actual solution is going to be for that avatar, and it's going to solve their problem. Like, so whilst there may be some generic overhangs between an avatar, it's not that you need to think of every single client you have and go, well, they're all slightly different. They're not. They've all got a similar problem, right? So is your avatar like the future-oriented CTO, or is it the department head? Who's the person who actually pays your bill, who says, yes, I'm going to hire you?
Future-oriented CTO.
It is,
CEO.
right? Okay, all right. And does this
Okay,
make
so
sense
you
to
know, I
everyone?
think
Because we
yeah.
all want to have multiple avatars because we get excited that we've got all these people we can serve. But honestly, it just makes our lives more complicated. And if you've got one promotion and one avatar, the minute you've got multiple avatars, you should have multiple products. The minute you've got multiple products, you need multiple promotions. If you've got multiple promotions, you need multiple team members. One promotion per person per quarter, right? So let's go after one avatar and let's do a really good job of finding that avatar, or, you know, a number of those avatars, obviously. But we're going to go find Heidi. All right. So what's Heidi's problem?
Actually, then I the future oriented. Well, Heidi's problem is sorry, now I lost a little bit because now I'm trying to figure out the. I actually had Mark here as well, which is more the future oriented CEO. I don't know where he went. Yeah. So Heidi's problem is that she's in a corporate again, so she's not that person actually. So I'm sorry, I'm getting a little lost here. Brainwash. Okay.
So tell me who your existing customers are. Like, just describe an existing customer.
Okay, so well, if I just take two, so one existing customer is the CEO of a small SME company that has 11 salespeople, or we've just had one as well that is more technical people, and they are scale up entrepreneurs. They want to grow. They want to double their revenue and their team and profits, and they're both wanting to attract talent, but also to keep the talent that they have in their organizations, and to make sure that they work from both high performance, but also having well-being.
And what's the challenge that they have?
Well, the challenge that they have is that so Giselle, George. Okay, so the growing demands for growth and performance changing. Sorry, now I'm mixing now, Michelle, because I'm thinking in the department head, and then I'm having the other one. So I think they have a lot of the same problems actually, but it's just trying to.
Anna, do you want to help?
I think the thing that you have wrote here, Nina, is the thing anyway. Just get away from the thing you have in your head, because keeping the talents is one main issue in our customers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
is
they
keeping talent or attracting talent, or just keeping talent?
Both, because people are quitting and they have problems to get their talents or to find new talents.
Exciting things to do. And why do people quit?
Nina, do you want to take over?
Yeah. In the growth company or the scale up company that we've been working with, then it's because they're the people are not performing. Actually, I think I need to go with the department because it's much easier for me. It's actually more easy to go on that one. one of the reasons why people are quitting is that the demands are too high, and they feel alone with their problems sometimes in the departments, that they just like an entrepreneur, they actually feel like octopuses with high demands and not really utilizing the other people in teams. Communication not working, no real cooperation and collaboration in the teams, leaders that are not necessarily, or I'm so sorry, I don't know what's happening to me. I'm just like really having a hard time communicating at the moment.
It's because I picked on. Okay, all right. Well, let's come to your promise.
Yeah, so our promise is that by giving them real good frameworks, and then we'll help them understand each other better, and to see how they can use each other's qualities and energies and strengths in a better way, so that they both get into a better state, perform better, and so to accelerate trust, safety, and flow in the team.
All right.
So
well, look, because I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to try a few things back, and I want you all to think about how this lands, right? So you heard the problem. There's a real problem with staff leaving because their demands are too high. They feel alone. They feel like they're super challenged, but like being an entrepreneur. So people are leaving, so they're finding it difficult to keep hold of their talent. Of course, if you lose talent, then it's very costly, because you've got to rehire people, you've got to retrain them, you've got to make people more productive. It's a big challenge, right? Now, if the promise was within 3 months, we actually come in and turn your entire culture around from a very low trust culture to a really high trust culture. Companies that have high trust have high engagement, they have high retention, and their sales increase. Where companies who have low trust find it harder to maintain their staff, find it much harder to make them productive, and generally it's a much higher cost of company. So we promise that by coming in and actually spending time with your team, we'll be able to do all those things. Does that sound more attractive? All of a sudden it does, right? So make your promise about the bottom line, make your promise about the financial impact, because the thing with Talent Dynamics is a business development tool. It's not a training tool. So the more you talk about it as a light, fluffy tool, which you have done here, it's a lighthouse, it's a framework, it's blah, blah, it's like very light and fluffy. Make it very business focused, because this is costing them time, right? It's costing them time and money. And whilst there's also the soft element to it, which is, people are not feeling heard and not having a good time, the hard fact is that this is actually impacting their business. And really what you want to do is change culture. That's what Talent Dynamics is going to help you do. It's going to change culture by improving the trust and flow within an organization, right? Now, I'll have a quick look at your product. Let's see where that is.
It's the next slide. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's not very visible there. So the first step there is the mapping of the talent and the state of the team, and really acknowledging what's actually working and getting them feeling good about that. And then step 2 is more going into a process of anchoring, that they have common goals together, that they establish their blocks to flow, their success criteria, getting them aligned to a something that they want to work on together. And then actually I have some questions about this, because I've been doing some things, and so
this is me, like, here's how I would frame this differently, right? And for all of you who've got training coaching businesses, the biggest challenge that most of you find is that you cannot show a return on investment to your client, which is why when there's a budget cut, they'll always cut training. The reason Talent Dynamics didn't get cut in the recession was because we were able to prove a return on investment. In fact, our revenues went up during the recession instead of down, where the training companies were all getting cut. So if you market yourself as a training company, you'll get cut. If you market yourself as a business development company, or a company that's driving business development by improving trust, and then people go, oh, I get how that works. Like, the higher the trust, the more the revenue. Now, if you said, the first thing we do is we come in and we actually measure the level of trust in your organization, right? You can use PSR. You don't even have to create anything, right? You say, well, first thing we do is we come in and measure the level of trust. We'll measure the level of trust within each team. We'll get everyone to have a profile test so they understand their unique point of difference. We get them to understand what's the level of trust between team members. Even we can measure the level of trust between teams within the organization. We can even measure trust between the like different departments within the company as well, right? People will be like, that's kind of interesting. We then give you like this full diagnostic explaining where you have the most trust, where you have the least trust, and how much it's costing you. So we'll actually show you in financial terms where low trust is costing you and where high trust is helping you. And we'll help you to sit down and decide what's the areas that you want to improve. Part of this diagnostic, you decide the areas you want to improve, and we'll then create a bespoke program for you, which will include everyone having a profile test, everyone going through a talent dynamics team program, the whole team understanding like where they can create the most trust and flow. We'll come back in 3 months' time, we'll remeasure the PSR, but most importantly, we'll remeasure the revenue and the profit, because that's what we're looking for. And by the way, people who work in a high culture environment stay, and you can be quoting many examples of organizations that have really, really high culture, high trust, where they have super, super high retention numbers.
Yeah. Thank you, Michelle. And it's interesting because when you say it, I feel like that's in a way that's what I'm doing when I'm in the and which I'm training the others to do as well.
Let's get that on the slide deck. Let's make that super clear on the slide deck, because what happens is most of us, and I know this is with your business as well, Nina, you're growing through referrals, right? So people say you should work with Nina, and it's because they love her. They're like, we love Anne, we love Nina, she's great, you should go work with her. But if you really want to grow your business and you want to have new customers, you've got to have more than just referrals. Referrals is brilliant. You've got to have, and I know like Theodosia, I know she's gone already, but she has the same challenge, right? It's like, it's all people who already know, like, and trust her that want to come work with her. If we want to find new companies and new organizations, we still want to build that pathway out. We want to have that marketing message. And by having that free diagnostic on the front end, like how trustworthy is your team, or, or what is low trust costing you right now, or something like that. And there's a series of masterclasses for you there as well, right there in that whole pathway for you to build out. And I don't think you're going to need to change your product, because your product's already delivering on it, but you're going to change very much your marketing and very much that customer pathway. So I'd like you to work on that slide as well. All right, well, we're out of time already, guys. Look how quickly the time goes. Next week, we'll have a full hour and a half just doing mentoring. So do come with your plans, come with your questions as well. What I'd love is just right now is drop into the chat what's been your biggest takeaway from today's session. So either from the session with Chris or the session with Nina, like what's the biggest takeaway that you've heard today that you want to put into your plan, either to up level your plan or as you're starting to write it? Just drop that into the chat so we can see that. All right, Andres is saying building out the customer pathway, definitely. And I think that slide is one of the most important ones that we don't think about because we're so busy thinking about the actual end product. Sue saying emphasize the ROI for the prospect and client, definitely. Think bigger, Chris. Yeah, you're going to come back with a big plan and big revenues next week, I know. Violetta, design the customer pathway with the appropriate pricing. Okay, yeah. Carver, building out the pathway. Hopefully we've had a few more insights. Carmen saying getting the problem and promise clear and building the pathway from this. Yeah. And making sure you're not just using what you had from Wealth Dynamics Masters, but really just focusing now at the specific client that you're attracting. Tandy Lee, deciding on your avatar as a training skills. Oh, okay, great. So you kind of got a lot from that session we just did there as well. Thank you for awesome and clear feedback, focusing on the biz development. All right. Any other takeaways that you want to drop into the chat so I can just see if it has been of value being here today? Hopefully it has. Hopefully there has been something that you've been able to pick up. All right, Sandy, clarity on how Stacey and I are dividing our focus to address the whole system. Oh, okay. All right, great. Okay, all right. Looks like that's several ideas for refining what I'm doing. So Sharon, okay, great. All right, well, look, I'm looking forward to seeing these plans next week. We'll take a few more examples and move a bit faster next week because you'll have had a bit more time to be digesting and coming with your specific questions as well. So do make sure you've completed your plans. That's your key homework, and make sure you've entered your weekly revenue targets as well in the target box. So come up with a number for your plan and then split it into what your weekly revenues are going to be. And we will catch up with you at the same time next week, unless you're Sue and you'll be on the morning session next week. All right, everyone. Ciao for now. Take care. Have a good week.